Welcome to our evening session. My name is Darryl Dunnington. I will be leading this session for you. We will take this session as an opportunity to practice for the certification exam. So let's go through some of the slides. Let me explain to you where we're going, what we need to do to prepare to take this practice exam, and talk about its benefits, how it will help you. This morning we did meet at our morning session, and I did the final presentation over case management. Case management is 30% of the test. I think it's the easier portion of the test. It's the big bulk portion that covers a lot of information from case types to stages to steps, processes, creating a child case, routing. Oh, it goes on and on. Duplication of cases. So there are many topics there, but they are very clear as how they should be implemented. So we do have the video for that. We have the audio. If you want to look at that, we have the summary information that's here for you. You should have received the link. So make sure that you make use of all of these tools to prepare you for the certification. This morning, we talked about the 30%, and you sat and you took a test. Now, you took a test over that 10%. I know that 10% we'd covered some time ago, but that's why I wanted to impress upon you the importance of doing the user stories. That PEGA Express, that 10%, it's all centered around user stories. So if you have not done those user stories, I would encourage you to go back and do it just in case. And if you need to listen to the presentation that I did on the 10%, then you need to go back and find that. Matter of fact, I'll find those links, send those out to you so that you'll have all of the topics. If you want to go back and listen to them, study from them, then you can. So you took the practice exam, and I did grade all of the practice exams. So if you get an opportunity, go and look in the upload folder, and you'll see that they are already graded. You should see that it has already been evaluated, and your grade is there. If it's in purple, of course, that's a successful endeavor. If it's in red, that means that you still have some knowledge that you need to acquire and some growing to do from a skill perspective. So make sure that you put in the work. As I said before, we have designed this course to be a targeted course for learning. If you have followed all of the regiment of everything that we've asked you to do the modules, do the module quizzes, listen to the lectures, attend the lectures, do the essays. All of these are focused and targeted learning for you. Now, when you sit for the exam, for the certification, you'll be well prepared because the expectation is you need to know everything there is about a particular topic. That's the safest route to take. And that's why we have you do the essays, do the challenges, read the modules, listen to the podcast that we've summarized for you. All of that is very important. So let's take a look at the outcome. From this morning, here is the outcome. We had one person that scored an 80. So you can look at your score. I didn't want to show your names here, but if you made an 80, we had one person who made an 80. So congratulations. I want you to understand that the test that you took is a professional formatted test. It's not an academic test. And so professional formatted tests are a bit harder to take. They are multiple question, multiple answers, and you have to get everything correct in order for you to get your points. There were 20 questions, 5 points per question. And if it had multiple answers, and if you didn't answer all of them correctly, then the whole answer is wrong. And that's exactly the way it would be on the certification. That's why I give you these types of tests. So the reason that some of you scored lower than maybe you expected is because if you did not answer every question correctly by selecting all of the correct answers, then that particular question will be marked wrong and you get 0 points. And again, that's the way it will be graded on the certification. If you get one answer correct and they were expecting you to check 2 of the answers, then you get a 0. They don't give you partial credit. That's why it's important. Follow the regimen that I've given you to make sure that you understand everything there is about a topic. You should know the definition. You should know the description. You should know how to navigate to it. You should have an idea of what it looks like, where it can be found on the environment, if it's in the environment. You should know the use case. All of that's there for you from that study guide. And from that study guide, we covered all of those topics to make sure that it was targeted learning and to prepare you for the certification. So this was your first example. So we had one person who made an 80. So congratulations on that. That will definitely, if you continue making an 80 on all of these, you will definitely pass the certification. That means that you're tracking where you should be tracking. Now, we had 2 people who made a 75. So I think you're on the right track. Continue to do what you're doing, intensify your learning a bit more. I think you'll be good. We had 3 people who made a 70. That puts you right on the borderline when you make a 70. So make sure that you are careful in your studying. Make sure that you read the details of what the AI assistant in grading it, you'll see that it provides you details about how you should study and what you should study. Now it does go into, well, you got 2 weeks to do that, 2 weeks to do this. We don't have 2 to 4 weeks for you to get caught up. It's, you need to do it immediately. But there you can read, it gives you a plan of action. You need to go back, take a look at those items. If you have any questions about any of the topics, contact me, or I can point you to the right podcast. I think that's the best way to go. Point you to the podcast and to the document to give you some help. Now, for those of you who made a 65, there were 4 people in the class that made a 65. That means that you're below the threshold. You're below the threshold. You're not too far below it. Maybe the threshold is here and you're just right bumping up against the bottom of it, but you really need to spend more time studying, quality time. Read the details about what's missing, what your weaknesses are, so that you can work on that. We had 2 people who made a 60. That means that you need to catch up. If you hadn't completed some of the essays may help you. Then go back and complete the essays. I'm not sure where you are on the modules and the quizzes and the challenges, but you need to go back and do that this week to make sure that you are getting targeted and concentrated learning. Now, we have 2 of you that are critical. One of you made a 55, one of you made a 45. That means that you're not mastering the material. 60 or above, that means that you have some basic level of the material or greater. Below 60, that means that you're not mastering the material. You're reading about half of it. You're getting the gist of a portion of it, but you can't synthesize that into an answer. So I want to encourage you, if you are struggling and you made a 55 or 45, get with your other peers that you may know that may have made a higher score. Ask about that. Go back and look at your results. Um, the AI assistant will give you the answer and will give you a brief explanation about the answers and what should have been selected. But let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. Some positive notes. Some positive notes. Let's look up at the top. Number one here, 86 to 100% of you understood the roles, the phases, the tools. So that's absolutely great. Technical architecture, 93% of you understood about technical architecture, rules resolution, those questions. Number three, management tools, 100% of you understood that. Agile workbench and user stories. So I think you're on point there. Number four, strategic thinking. You have a good understanding of that and the collaboration benefits of the App Studio and Dev Studio. And then we have the basic structures for minimal lovable product in the phases. So you guys did well on really understanding those particular concepts. But now let's take a look at where you had some challenges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas. So I'm gonna move on to the next slide. And so these are the questions that you had some challenges and the whole class missed the majority of these. If you missed some questions, then for instance, DCO, 80% of you, right at 80% of you miss the question about DCO and it being able to take user stories and convert them into PEGA artifacts. Remember, that's what DCO is. DCO is that conversation that you're having with the individuals so that you understand from a business perspective what the requirements are. Once you can gather those requirements, then you as the business architect, you need to synthesize this and with your skills, make a determination from that information, what's a case type? What's a stage? What's a step? What's a process? What's a duplicate case? What's an email? All of those come into play when you're looking at DCO. So most of you got B and you got E, but 80% of you missed C. DCO is all about the conversion of user stories into PEGA artifacts. All right, number two, 71% of you missed the part where it talked about agility and scale. PEGA Express. PEGA Express. It's about agility and scale, right? It's not really about minimizing the amount of time. That may come, but we're looking at agility and scale. How quickly can we make changes that it does not impede upon our time? How quickly can we scale to where we go from 100 users to 10,000 users? That's what we look at when we talk about PEGA Express. So all of you got the other four, the first four, A, B, C, and D. You got A, B, C, and D, but you missed that. 71% of you missed agility and scale. That's the centerpiece. That's one of the five fundamentals of PEGA Express. All right, let's go to the third one. Situational layer cake. Now, situational layer cake, I was hoping that more people would score higher on that percentage, but 71% of you still missed the layer cake. And maybe I didn't use the right term. Remember when I talked about the base layer, right? The organizational layer, the divisional layer, the implementation layer, the division layer, right? Those were all of the layers, but maybe because I used the word base instead of platform. So the PEGA platform, that's the base layer, that's the bottom layer. That's where all of the out of the box OOTB, that's where everything comes from. So like if I'm going to run a .NET program, I have to have the .NET environment installed. If I have to run a Java program, I have to have the JRE, the Java runtime environment installed. Well, if I have to run a PEGA program, I have to have the PEGA platform installed. So hopefully you understand that when we talk about that base layer, the bottom layer, that's the PEGA platform layer. So you got the PEGA layer, you have the organizational layer, you have the divisional layer, you have the implementation layer, implementation application layer. All right, and then the very last one, OOTB, out of the box. Everything about PEGA to scale, to quickly implement for the agility, to assure that when we are releasing new versions of PEGA, that everything will run accordingly. It's all about making sure that number one, you want to look to see if something is already done. If it's already pre-configured, predefined, it's already a out of the box OOTB or rule or artifact that you can use. So OOTB is central. It is part of the design thinking that when you're building a PEGA application, you need to make sure that you look first to see if it's already built within the system before you think about customizing it. So most of you got A and B correctly, but 57%, almost 60% of you, if you miss that particular question, then you miss that design thinking is fundamental. It is the strategy of PEGA when we talk about out of the box resources. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful for you. We're getting ready now to prepare for, oh, well, let's talk about this. So I went and looked, and some of you did update, turned in your essays. So that's important. Thank you very much. So 4 of you are totally caught up. My expectation is that before the end of this week, everyone is caught up so that you have done all the work that we need you to do, along with all the work in PEGA Academy that has to happen to make sure that you can unlock the mission exercise and the mission test. So make sure that that's done, but I'll talk about that later after the test today. So what are we getting ready to do in the next 5 or 6 minutes here? We'll go ahead and get started on the test. And this is the BAE practice exam. This is the BAE practice exam. So you'll go to the 1103 folder again, and you'll go to the folder up at the top where it says the BAE examination, the BAE exam. From that BAE exam, you'll see that there's a C2, Charlie 2, C2. There's a Spanish version, there's a English version. Download it. And of course, make sure that you put your name. I didn't format this one like I did the other one, but you should have put your first and last name when you get ready to upload it. So I apologize for that. Now, we'll follow the format. You'll read the question, and then you can bold your answers. You can bold your answers. So follow the exact same format. Everyone did exactly what I asked you to do. So the AI tool, the agent was able to read all of your answers. So we didn't have any problems there. Some of you put it in, highlighted it in yellow. Some of you highlighted it in green. That seems to have worked also. And others, as I said, I asked you to bold it and that will work. Now, this is the layout. When you open the document, you will see this layout. This is the exact same percentages that you'll get on the certification test. Again, this mimics the certification test. This is as close as you'll ever get to the real certification test. As a matter of fact, we actually made it a little bit harder than the certification test. So it is challenging, and it will take you up to an hour and a half. Some of you, it may take 2 hours. But the expectation is I need you to sit this time because it's a long time when you take the certification. An hour and a half is a long time when you're taking the certification. So this is part of your practice of being able to have the mental stamina to sit there for an hour and a half and to think about the topics and choose the appropriate answers. So 5 of the questions are from PEGA Express. 15 questions will be from case management. 8 will be from data and integration. 3 from security. 5 from user experience. 12 from application development. And then the last one is for reporting. Insights. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the folder, download. Let's see, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the BAE folder. Download the exam. Modify your name. And in 2 minutes, I'll put up the start. I'll put up the start in 2 minutes. So that'll give you a chance to download everything and to go ahead and get ready. But I want you to wait until I tell you to start because you need to see how long it's going to take you to do the 50 questions. So again, all of this is practice. Yes, I want you to do well. I want you to score well, but all of this is practice. I want you to see what it's like to sit for an hour and a half to read the questions. They are long scenario-based questions. That's what you'll get, long scenario-based questions. In most cases, it will say choose all the best answers. Sometimes it'll say choose 2 of the best answers, and you'll get that same mix and feel when you sit for the certification. All right, so let me bring up a clock here where we can do this for 90 minutes. I want a 90-minute. Okay. Got a 90-minute timer. Hopefully you have it downloaded, and let's get started. So go ahead and start the exam. I'll check in on you every so often, every 30 minutes, and you shouldn't have any problems. And at the end of this session, it's 6:30 now, 7:38. By 8 o'clock, you should be finished. Okay, so hopefully everyone finished it on time. If not, Again, just evaluate yourself. Realize that you only have 90 minutes to take the test if you're going to take it in Spanish. If you take that test in English, then they give you 2 hours. They'll give you an additional 30 minutes. But I think most of the time, everyone in the class, you guys have been taking it in Spanish. So you only get an hour and a half. You only get 90 minutes. Now, that was probably very challenging. Very challenging test composed of scenarios that are 3 to 4 sentences. And then you have options where you have to choose anywhere from 3 or more at any given time. That's what you are to expect for the exam. The BAE exam, the certification for PEGA, it's a professional certification. It's not an academic certification. So it's going to require you to know all of that information that we've covered in PEGA Academy, quizzes, the challenges, all of that is open for questioning. So hopefully you guys did pretty good there. So let me continue on here and prepare you guys for the next session, which is Wednesday. So the next session is Wednesday. And before you come to that evening session, I need you to take the mission test and upload it into the folder for November 5, for November the 5th. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Again, you will not be able to get to the mission test until you complete the mission exercise, the mission quizzes, and the challenges. So make sure that that's done first, that this is enabled. This is at the bottom of the BAE mission in PEGA Academy. This is the last challenge, sizing a project in App Studio for BAs. Now, if it's enabled and you are in the mission exercise and you're having challenges with it, they do have a solution for you. So if you can't complete it on your own, make sure that you look at the solution and allow it to help you complete that so that you can take the mission test. Once you take the mission test, and if you score an 80 or above, then you get your first digital badge. Okay? So make sure that before you come to class on Wednesday, that you take this mission test and upload the file. This is what I want you to do. When you take the mission test, it will tell you if you pass or fail, if you're successful or not. If you are successful, congratulations. If you're not, then you will have an opportunity to do it again. But I need you to capture the screen, capture the results for me, and I want you to upload it into the 1105 folder. You'll see there's an example of one there. If you go and click on that particular image, you'll see the image, and this is the image that you'll see. So I just need to know if you pass or fail to know what the next steps are. Now, I'll also say this. I will grade the exam that you've taken today. I'll get that graded in the next few minutes, so expect it before midnight or early in the morning at the latest. So you'll be able to go in and look at it and review it. If I grade it and you're not successful, review it, and I would encourage you to take it a second time. It's a lot of information there. So read over what you missed, what you got right, and go ahead and sit for it a second time. You simply download it again, um, take the test in your own time, and then you can upload it. And maybe you want to time yourself, and then you upload it, and I'll see that it has not been evaluated, and I'll just grade it again. Okay, so you have those to do, but make sure before we meet on Wednesday, make sure before we meet on Wednesday that you take the mission test, because on Wednesday, what we will do is we will take the pre-test that will qualify you for a voucher. Right? So you'll have to pass the pre-test in order to get the voucher. So for Wednesday, you'll set for a pre-test that's created by PEGA for you to get a voucher. And so that we won't get confused anymore, I did update the WebEx. And so Wednesday, we'll meet at 6:30 your time. So I think I got it corrected on WebEx, but it said 6 o'clock. But you guys know every Wednesday we meet at 6, and then Thursday we meet at 10 and at 7:30. So we are getting close to qualifying you guys to get your first professional certification. By the time we speak, you should have your first digital badge. Your mission exam, your mission test, you score 80 or above, then I'll show you where you can go into your PEGA profile and you will acquire your mission badge, your digital badge there. And of course, at the end of the class, we'll have these last 4 certifications. So that's all I have for this evening. Thank you for your time and effort. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Have a great day. I'll see you Wednesday. Make sure before you come to class Wednesday, upload your mission test. Give me a thumbs up if everyone understands that before you come to class on Wednesday. There we go. Before you come to class on Wednesday, make sure you've taken that test and you upload it. And then on Wednesday, we will do the pre-test from PEGA that qualifies you for the voucher for $175. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you Wednesday.